Hey there, are you a new Etsy store owner or an embroidery lover wanting to learn how to bring your embroidery products and sell them on Etsy? I'm going to teach you today how to start an embroidery Etsy store, or if you already have an Etsy embroidery store, I want to give you tips on how to improve it and start making more sales. My name is June Wilson. I've been on Etsy for almost 15 years. I'm a multi seven-figure seller, but that wasn't always the case. I sucked for the first 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I sucked for quite a while. I struggled. I couldn't get consistent sales. I tried everything and always wondered how other people were making tons of sales and I wasn't, until I really dug deep and cracked the code, right? So today I'm going to share with you tips that helped me be more successful and more efficient in my embroidery business, and things that would have helped me find success a lot faster if I would have done these things opposed to just starting the way I did, not knowing anything. So let's dive in and get to it. So the first thing that I would suggest, and this is something that I did, is to niche down, right? Find your market, find what you're going to sell, who you're going to sell it to. This is going to help you with your marketing efforts. This is also going to help knowing what products to make, right? You don't really want to start making a whole lot of things. You might, if you don't really know what you want to sell, if you want to give yourself an extra grace period before seeing some success, just to kind of find out what you want to sell. But I really suggest that you know what you want to sell before you start an Etsy shop. And one of the ways to do that is maybe look through Etsy and see what kind of embroidered things sell more. What's more popular? Check Google, check Etsy, and just really see if there's a market for what you want to sell, maybe before you even start an Etsy shop. Now, for embroidery, luckily, there's a lot of things you can do. There's embroidered home decor, there's embroidered pet accessories and collars. There's baby items, bride stuff, sorority sweatshirts. There's a lot of things to pick from when it comes to finding an embroidery niche. So just do your research and find something that you love. And also, a huge tip here, make sure that you're going to specialize in something that you love making. Okay, because your goal is to be crazy busy and make a lot of sales. So you want to make sure you're going to love making what you're selling, because you're going to have a ton of it, hopefully. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, when you start your store, is you want to start your shop with about 10 to 20 listings. I know that might sound a lot to some of you, but it really is important to stock your shop. I mean, I would even, my goal, I would say, is start with 50, but I know that's a lot. Start with 10 to 20. Another tip is, if you start closer to the 10 listing area, or even 20, however many listings you have, duplicate your listing. When I started seeing success was I started duplicating listings. And one of the reasons that you want to do that is because, for one, it's going to bulk up your shop. The second reason you want to do that is because there is a lot of sellers on Etsy, right? There's, gosh, hundreds and thousands of listings on Etsy. And so the more listings you have, the more likely that somebody's going to come across one of your listings. So if you only have one listing of that item, that's like a needle in a haystack. So duplicate your listings and change out your titles and your SEO, your description, change up your tag words, and that's going to also help you bulk up your shop. And it's also going to help you do some A/B testing. What that means is see which listing sells better with different titles. Okay, so that is going to be tip number two, is bulk up your shop, start with at least 10 to 20 ideal, and duplicate the listing. Tip number three is start with quality supplies and blanks, high quality threads. You want to have nice blanks, thick blanks. You want to make sure that what you're sending out is quality. Wherever you source those from, just make sure you're selling top notch. An important step to growing a successful Etsy store is having great reviews and social proof. So you want to strive for high reviews. You want 5-star, you want raving fans, and you want people to keep coming back. You want repeat business. These are going to help establish your social proof and improve your Etsy shop rating. So make sure you start with quality supplies, nice blanks, nice threads. You want to make sure that your embroidery machine is sewing out really smooth. Your stitches are nice and neat and tight and look really soft and smooth. Those kind of things really make a difference, and customers really look at those kind of details. Of course, occasionally something's going to slip by that you're not going to catch, and you might get a negative review or a customer complaint. Don't worry about that. That happens all the time to all of us. What I recommend doing, which I do because that does happen to me, is I'll reach out to the customer. Even if they have a bad review and they haven't messaged me, I will reach out to them and I'll say, what was wrong with the product? Please send me a picture. I want to make this right by you. I want you to love your outfit. Okay. So I have done that so many times. Well, not so many times because I don't have a lot of complaints, but when I do, if you reach out to your customer and you provide great customer service, they are more than likely going to change that negative review into a positive, and you're going to earn a raving fan. So make sure that you use top quality supplies and equipment when you are running an Etsy store. My next tip is offer personalized and customized options in your listings. People come to Etsy because they want customized, they want personalized, they want something special for gifts or for their babies or their dogs, their pets, whatever it is, their brides. So make sure that you offer options such as threads, fonts, different colors, different fabrics. You want to give your customer options. Now, I would recommend, now, this is a tip that I had to learn, okay? And I know that as embroiderers and creatives, we love options and we love fonts and colors and different fabrics. Limit your choices, okay? Limit what you are offering your customers for two reasons. There's the saying, a confused mind doesn't buy. I have found that to be true. People get overwhelmed with too many options and they just can't pick and they end up not buying, okay? But for our benefit, reason number two is because you want to make it easier for you to design and save those files, right? So if you're only offering 5 designs, you're going to create a database of those names or those dates or that design and have it ready for the next one, opposed to offering 20 different fonts and having to create different names all the time, right? So offer a select amount of fonts or colors or designs, whatever it is, but don't over offer. Okay, that's super important. My next step is to have a dedicated work area where you could stay organized. When you're a solopreneur, which we all are, usually when we start an Etsy store or our own business, time is money, right? So if you spend a lot of time looking around for stuff, trying to find the right frame, looking for your applique scissors or your marking pin, all those kind of things, they take up your time and your day will go by so quickly. So you want to make sure you have a dedicated workspace and everything is organized and in its place. And that really is going to help you be more effective in your time. My next tip is going to be branding. If you're new to Etsy, if you haven't started an Etsy store yet, you want to think of a great name for yourself. You want something that's going to be easy to remember, something that's easy to spell and spelled correctly. You don't want to use anything cute like designs with a Z or use a K for a C. You don't want to do anything like that. You want to stay easy to remember and easy to spell. You want to make it really easy for your customers to find you, right? So you want to think of a great name. You want to check social medias, make sure it's available. You want to check and make sure that it's not trademarked. And when you settle on a name, you're also going to want to get the domain name as well. So make sure the domain is also available because you're going to want to use that as you grow and develop your own website, or you can use it to direct it to your Etsy store. You can use I own Junie Grace, so I could use www.juniegrace.com and it would go directly to my Etsy store if you don't have a website yet. So that is something that you definitely want to keep in mind, is having a great name. Now, to piggyback off of that, you also want to start thinking of your branding, right? Pick a couple of colors that you're going to like for your branding, maybe some fonts. If you want a little icon or character, just make sure that you start off with branding. Branding is super important because it builds a brand identity for yourself in your store. And it also shows Etsy and customers that you are a serious seller and that you really take pride in your shop. And it sets you aside from the other stores, right? It makes it easier for customers to find you. So be sure to start strong with your branding. The next thing is you want to make sure to utilize your social media, your Facebook, your Pinterest, TikTok, all of those things. But what I really want to suggest that you do is pin through Etsy. When you list on Etsy, you have the option to automatically connect to your Pinterest, and you can just simply and easily pin your products. The thing about Pinterest that people don't realize is Pinterest is a search engine. So it's not something that is dependent on algorithm or something that is just shows one time and then goes through the scroll. No, Pinterest is a search engine. So once you pin it, it's there forever. So make sure that you always pin on Pinterest. Now, great photos are super important too. I cannot express to you the importance of photos. You want clear, bright, well lit photos. You want no clutter. You want them to look as professional as possible. What I suggest is that you look through Etsy, through your market, your niche, or on Google and see what your competitors are doing out there, because that is what you're competing against. Okay. You need to really strive for that quality of photos. And one thing that I always tell people is if you really have a hard time taking great photos, you can always try to find somebody to take them for you. If there's a local photographer who will do trade, if you know somebody on Facebook who's trying to build a portfolio, a new photographer, reach out to those people. That's what I did. I did my own pictures for the first couple of years, probably one of the reasons why I sucked. But I did it. I still got sales, but I knew I needed to elevate my picture game, and so I reached out to newborn photographers and just photographers all over the place. I also did collab groups on Facebook. I did model groups on Facebook. There's a lot of options when it comes to getting professional pictures on a budget or even for free, right? So if you want more information on that, reach out to me. I am so happy to help. But pictures are super important. And if possible, use a flat lay, use a picture of your photo in action. You want to use multiple pictures. You have the option of using 10 photos, 10 photo slots in your listing, and you want to use as many of those as possible. Aim for all 10 different angles, different variations. You also want to add the video. The video is only 15 seconds long. There's no audio. It could be a quick TikTok video. It could be a quick cell phone video. But Etsy will show you and tell you when you're adding your listings that listings with videos get more sales than listings without. So make sure you include a video if possible. I mean, let's be honest, everybody has a cell phone. So it is possible. Take a video. So now we're down to probably the last thing, which I think is important, and that's your pricing. You want to make sure to price where you're going to make a profit. You're going to want to add your fees into the price. If you offer free shipping, you want to add that into the price. You do not want to come out in the negative when it comes to Etsy. You don't want to lose money to fees. So make sure that you include all your expenses and costs into your listing. That being said, I do recommend that you offer free shipping. I do recommend you add that into the pricing. And I would suggest that you look around your niche and you find out what the market is. Check the market for pricing. You don't want to overprice and you definitely don't want to underprice. You want to be competitive. And what I do is I look around, I'm competitive, but I also think, what do I have that's different, right? Do I ship faster? Do I have more options? Do I have things that other sellers don't have? What sets me apart, right? So I include that and I keep that in mind when I'm doing my pricing as well. So you definitely want to make sure you price accordingly. Again, if you have any questions about that, reach out to me, join my group. I'll have the link below. But we're here to help, and I'm here to help. I want to see you succeed. I think the world needs more embroiderers, more handmade makers on Etsy. In my opinion, Etsy is full of a lot of print on demand, a lot of drop shipping, a lot of that kind of stuff. And I just have a heart for true handmade items, even if they are embroidered. Okay. They might not be handmade with our hands, but we still add our blood, sweat, and tears into them. And it takes a lot of effort. Not saying it doesn't for POD. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying is that we need more handmade sellers on Etsy. So think what you will. So those are my tips for today. I hope you find them to be super helpful. I hope you like and subscribe. Be sure to grab my free Etsy mini course at the link down below, where I help you start an Etsy store and help you create your first listing. I also have a video on creating your first listing right here. Also have a video with Etsy's fees and what it costs to sell on Etsy. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.